مفاهيم. وهذه تحياتي أنا مروان الوناس، وتحيات إيناس والمخرج وفي بوميدة.
With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has stressed during his regular meeting with representatives of the national media that Algeria is on the right path at the economic, political and diplomatic levels. The President of the Republic has decided to award Algeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Ammar Ben Jammeh, the National Order of Merit. And in the Middle East, 51 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli gunfire and ongoing bombardment since dawn, including 27 in the Gaza city alone. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. Good afternoon. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has held a regular meeting with representatives of the national media, broadcast yesterday evening on various national TV and radio channels. During his regular meeting with the media representatives, President Tebboune tackled several national and international issues of interest to Algeria. On the economic and commercial level, the head of state stressed that, contrary to any rumors, Algeria is not isolated, and the first lesson drawn from the success of Intra-African Trade Fair, IATF, hosted recently by Algeria, is Algeria's organizational capacities. He added that the event showed that Algeria is the beating heart of Africa economically and politically, and the fourth edition of IATF held in Algiers was the best edition ever. President Tebboune also emphasized Algeria's commitment to developing this internal African economy. Let's listen to the President of the Republic.
أظهرت أن الجزائر هي القلب النابض لإفريقيا اقتصاديا وسياسيا. الشيء اللي توصلنا ليه صح هو الأحسن منذ 3 طبعات، هذه الطبعة الرابعة. أتمنى تواصل، وأنا مبرمج إن شاء الله الأسبوع المقبل، في أواخر الأسبوع المقبل ربما ولا بعد أيامات، يكون لقاء مع كل المتعاملين الاقتصاديين اللي يهمهم الأمر، أننا باش ما نتوقفش في تعداد صفقات والشيء اللي وصلنا له، ولكن باش ندخل مباشرة في التنفيذ والتطبيق. Il y va de la respectabilité de l'Algérie, il y va aussi de l'engagement de l'Algérie à faire évoluer cette économie interne à l'Afrique, ces relations internes qui viennent s'ajouter à la ZLECA, bien sûr.
Meanwhile, the President of the Republic confirmed that inflation has been brought under control, falling to 3.8%, highlighting the government's efforts to preserve citizens' purchasing power. He explained that work and consultation were held on a daily basis with the Prime Minister and several other ministers to control prices. He added that we can say today with pride and with great pride that Algerians who contributed to this achievement that inflation has fallen below 4%, reaching 3.8% at a time when major countries in the world are experiencing double-digit inflation. This represents a decline of more than half compared to the level of inflation in Algeria in 2022, when it exceeded 9%, stressing that major countries are experiencing double-digit inflation. Let's listen to Mr. President.
اليوم يوميا مع السيد الوزير الأول ومع السادة الوزراء ومع السيد وزير المالية، اليوم يوميا نحاول كيفاش نتحكم في الأسعار، نتحكم في التضخم، وننقلها رأس مرفوع. وفخور بالجزائر، فخور بالجزائر والجزائريات والجزائريين اللي وصلوا البلاد مشينا فيه نسبة تضخم أقل من 3.8. لما نشوف دول عظمى التضخم تاعها طالع على 10%، كان بعض الدول اللي التضخم تاعهم برقمين. إذن يقال ما يقال، ولكن اقتصادنا الحمد لله ماشي. التضخم أقل من 3.8 صعب، لأن دول عظمى، دول منتجة راه الدور في 3.8 4. التضخم هذا ما ننساش باللي في 2020 التضخم عندنا كان يدور حول 9%، يعني نقص أكثر من النص. الشيء اللي يفرح واللي يخلينا متفائلين ما فيش عثرات أمور تصاعدية حتى ولو ببطء، ولكن نوصلوا الأهداف المسطرة إن شاء الله.
The head of state praised during his interview with the national media Algerian diplomacy and the improvement in its performance, particularly in its achievements at the UN Security Council level. He announced his decision to award Algeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Ammar Benjama, the National Order of Merit. The President of the Republic stated that Algerian diplomacy is on the right track, stressing that its achievement at the United Nations Security Council are an honor for Algeria and for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs alike. The President of the Republic expressed satisfaction with the achievements of this diplomacy, both in Africa and internationally, noting that it has begun to improve since the arrival of Mr. Ahmed Attaf, given his knowledge of the issues and his familiarity with the people. He said that he personally sets priorities for certain countries and trends, indicating that Algerian diplomacy has regained its glory.
مش باش نشكره، ولكن من اللي جاء سي احمد عطاف الامور بدات تتحسن، يعني هو يعرف الاشخاص ويعرف انا كنت نجهلهم ان الشيء اللي عليا الاولويات، وضع الاولويات بالنسبه لبعض الدول وبعض الاتجاهات تاع الدبلوماسيه. الشيء اللي وصلنا ليه في مجلس الامن يشرف الجزائر، يشرف وزاره الخارجيه، شيء ممتاز. ونعطيكم سكوب، امس راني مضيت المرسوم تاع إهداء الوسام للاستحقاق الوطني لسي بنجامة، وباش يسلم له في نيويورك إن شاء الله. ماشي تري كونطون على بالناس النساء والرجال اللي فاتوا في الاتحاد الإفريقي وفي بعض السفارات، وإن شاء الله نكونوا من حسن إلى أحسن. المهم دبلوماسية الجزائرية هما راه الناس تتكلم عليها، مش حنا نتكلموا على أنفسنا. عاودت استرجعت الرونق تاعها.
And on the international scene, President Abdelmadjid Tebboune affirmed that the Palestinian state is inevitable based on the 1967 borders with Al-Quds as its capital. He explained that Algeria's struggle for this cause from the beginning has been based on this foundation. He underlined that Algeria brought the Palestinian issue to the United Nations General Assembly, where 143 countries voted last year on the basis of Palestine as a state with full rights and full membership in the United Nations, but the veto prevented this from happening.
احنا اللي دخلنا قضية الجمعية العامة واللي صوتوا العام الماضي 143 دولة على أساس فلسطين كدولة كاملة الحقوق وعضوية كاملة العضوية في الأمم المتحدة. أنا حضرت مع السيد المحترم الأمين العام تاع الأمم المتحدة ومشينا فيها، كان فيه فيتو، مازال باقي هذا الفيتو هذا، ولكن اليوم الشيء اللي نتفائلوا فيه هو أن الأعضاء الدائمة بقى أنسى الفيتو، 4 خلاص اعترفوا بها. إذن أخطأت خطوات الدولة الفلسطينية وتكون إن شاء الله.
The President of the Republic also spoke about Algeria's relation with its regional neighbors, including Mauritania, Tunisia, which he described as strong. And under the instruction of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, the Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, has decorated Algeria's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Ammar Benjama, with the Medal of the National Order of Merit in the rank of Ashir in New York. Marim Bershaz more.
The President of the Republic, recipient of the Order of National Merit Medal in the rank of Sadr, decided to award the medal to Ambassador Ammar Benjama in recognition of his competence and dedication in representing Algeria at the United Nations and in recognition of his defense of just causes around the world, foremost among them the Palestinian and Sahrawi causes. In a speech delivered after receiving his decoration, Ambassador Ammar Benjama expressed his deep gratitude and appreciation and his sincere thanks to the President of the Republic for this distinction, reaffirming his commitment to continue working with dedication and loyalty under his leadership in the service of Algeria to defend its interest and make its voice heard in international forums.
Here we are today in New York. I am the permanent representative of Algeria and you are its Minister of Foreign Affairs. You are honoring me, entrusted by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, as I receive this award an honor that inspires both pride and humility at the same time. I'm fully aware that I do not deserve it alone. It is the result of the efforts of all the members of our mission in New York.
That was Algeria's ambassador to the UN, Ammar bin Jammeh.
And the Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs, the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, took part in the interactive dialogue meeting between the UN Security Council and the League of Arab States in New York. Mariam Barshi develops.
The meeting was held within the framework of cooperation between the United Nations and regional organizations in the field of strengthening international peace and security under Chapter 8 of the United Nations Charter. On the occasion, Minister Ahmed Attaf called for the strengthening of the partnership between the Security Council and the League of Arab States in the service of peace and security in the Arab region, given that cooperation with regional organizations is an urgent necessity that can enhance the effectiveness of UN initiatives and develop the collective security system.
As for Algeria, we are fully convinced that a strong partnership between the United Nations and the League of Arab States is essential, especially in light of the deeply troubling circumstances facing our region. The United Nations must heed the voices and calls of the countries of the region and those of the League of Arab States in the face of escalation. This has plunged the region into indescribable suffering and destruction. As we are undoubtedly witnessing in the Middle East, is not a minor issue, nor is it a temporary conflict or a temporary military escalation that can be stopped. It is a systematic strategic aggression against the Palestinian cause and the foundations of the two-state solution.
Mr. Attaf added that the difficult situation in the Middle East requires greater coordination between the Security Council and the League of Arab States, particularly in the face of systematic aggression aimed at liquidating the Palestinian cause and repeated attacks on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of neighboring countries. Mr. Attaf also stressed the need to unify international and Arab efforts in order to accelerate the search for peaceful solutions to the crisis facing certain Arab countries such as Sudan, Libya and Somalia.
And the Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, has met in New York with the senior advisor to the President of the United States of America for Africa, Mr. Massad Boulos, as part of his participation in the high-level segments of the United Nations General Assembly. The meeting was an opportunity to discuss the growing momentum in Algerian-American relations concerning the multidimensional strategic dialogue between the two countries and the fruitful economic partnership that both parties are seeking to develop. The discussions also provided an opportunity to continue consultations between the two parties on the most important regional issues of common interest, particularly those falling within the scope of the mission entrusted to the U.S. President's advisor. And to the Middle East now, where medical sources in Gaza Strip hospitals reported that 51 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli gunfire and ongoing bombardments since dawn, including 27 in Gaza City alone. In Khan Yunis, civil defense and emergency crews recovered 3 bodies after an Israeli airstrike targeted a vehicle near the Asda intersection north of the city. Medical sources warned that 20 hospitals have been forced out of service in Gaza and northern governorates. Meanwhile, Israeli occupation forces raided earlier in the morning Al-Jazaloun refugee camp north of Ramallah. Local sources said that Israeli troops stormed the camp and raided and searched several homes, vandalizing their contents. No arrests were reported. And finally, Iran has recalled its envoys to the United Kingdom, France and Germany for consultations after the 3 European countries triggered a mechanism reinstating the United Nations sanctions on Iran for the first time in a decade. The move came a day after Russia and China failed to delay the revival of the international sanctions on Iran as the 15th member of the UN Security Council, as only 4 countries supported the draft resolution opening the door for sanctions to be reimposed. With this, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Time now for weekly programs. With this, we'll leave you, and we'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin. Thank you. To travel back in time and learn about the most prominent